start off by asking your name.
It's Lisa Burns.
Okay, and where were you born?
I was born in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada.
And when were you born?
September 10th, 1965.
And where you were born, did you grow up there?
I did. I grew up in the same town I was born in.
Okay, and what was it like there?
It was not a really big town. I think probably when I grew up there, the population was only maybe 100,000. But it was we had the largest General Motors plant in North America in our city. So it's really a blue collar kind of town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are line workers. I had a lot of fun growing up there. We grew up right on Lake Ontario, one of the Great Lakes.
Oh, wow.
So in the winter we'd skate on it. In summer we'd go swim in it.
It wasn't too cold to swim?
I don't know. When you're a little kid, you don't really notice the cold, I think. Now I would not swim in it. It's too cold.
Or what's that called? The polar plunge where they jump
Oh, no,
in?
couldn't do that. There's no way. No.
And then, did you speak a different language? Don't they speak?
Not really. We took French in school, probably starting in 5th grade. And I took it all the way through grade 13 because the province I grew up in, we had grade 13 then if you want to go on to university, because they differentiate between college and university at home. Unlike here, it's all kind of the same thing. So if you want to go to university, you had to go to grade 13. That's gone away now. It doesn't exist anymore.
And if you were to go to college?
You'll need to finish grade 12.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from there.
Yeah.
And there y'all don't have states, y'all have
provinces.
Okay, and that's basically like a state.
It's like a state. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where did you first come when you came to the United States?
I moved to Houston.
And what was your reason for moving to Houston?
I came here to get a job. I graduated from nursing school in January of '87, and you couldn't get a full-time job. So I went to a nursing job fair, and they made it really easy to get a job here in the States. And they did all the paperwork you needed to get a work visa.
Wow.
The hospital that I came to, they actually were really nice. They helped us find an apartment, get bank accounts. They even took us to buy a car because we moved here thinking that it was a big city and we could just ride public transit, and found out that public transportation is not really that reliable here. At least it wasn't when I moved. So we had to buy a car within our first week of moving here.
Oh, where did you go to college or the university?
So I went to school in the same city I grew up in Oshawa. I didn't go away to go to school. I lived at home and went to school from there.
Mm-hmm. After that, did you need any like special schooling when you came to the States? Or?
No, I didn't need anything. Not when I first moved here. So it was easy. Texas came up to Canada a lot to recruit nurses because they granted reciprocity for your nursing license. So if you passed your nursing exam and had a nursing license in Ontario, then Texas, based on your score, as long as it was above a certain number, they just granted you a nursing license here.
Wow.
So I have had to do other stuff since I've been here, but not to initially move here.
Okay. How is the United States different from Canada?
Well, I think people here are more inclined to work to live than to live to work. I think people at home enjoy their time off more than people here do. People here work a lot of hours. I see it more. Don't take as much vacation time. Government, I mean, it's a democracy, but in terms of the way it's set up, it's very different. The Canadian government on a federal and then provincial level is the same as it is in England, since we were part of the English colony for a long time. So we have a prime minister, not a president. Healthcare is very different. We have socialized medicine that everybody's talking about. But it's interesting that the life expectancy is longer for people in Canada than it is here. Even with socialized medicine.
What is the life expectancy in Canada?
I think the last time I looked here for men it was 72. I think at home it's 74, 75 for men. And for women it was 74 here, and I think it was 78 for women. In most countries with socialized medicine, that's the case.
In socialized medicine, what is that?
It's basically like Medicare. So even though people here don't want to think socialized medicine exists, it does in the Medicare and Medicaid system. So it's government administered. At home, it's done province by province. So here it would be state by state. You pay a lot more money in taxes in your income and for things that you buy to pay for it. So it's not really free. Everybody gets it. So there's no debate about if you get healthcare or not. But you do pay for it in terms of everything you buy is taxed more than it is here. Tax at home in our province is 15% on just about everything. It's almost double what it is here. Gasoline is somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 a gallon, and that's all because of taxes. Alcohol, cigarettes, all way more money, and that's all just taxes. So I think Canada also is has more social programs. So welfare, mother's allowance. They'll pay for people to go back to school.
Wow.
So that they can get off of welfare. If they have a child, they'll subsidize their daycare, basically pay for daycare, subsidize their housing, make it, really cheap for them to be able to live while they're doing that, so that they can try to get a start and work and get off the welfare system. That doesn't really happen here, at least in Texas it doesn't.
So they're more worried about you going back to school than they are here in the United States.
I think that they would rather have you working than on some sort of welfare program or.
And that's another thing that's different from the United States. We just, you can be on welfare
forever.
Yeah.
It's an indefinite thing.
So, and how are the laws different from your end of Canada?
Well, there's no death penalty at home. That's for sure. But in terms of other laws, the big things, drugs, alcohol, you can't drive while you're impaired. You can't just smoke marijuana anywhere you want. I don't even think it's legal in any province at home. Now, the drinking age varies province by province. So the youngest drinking age is 18. I don't think there's anybody anywhere in the States where it's 18. 21, I think, everywhere. So it's 18 in 2 provinces, I think. Everywhere else it's 19. Traffic laws, trying to do all that kind of stuff, that was all pretty much the same.
Oh, which is understandable. And then and I forgot what I was going to ask, but
it'll come back to you.
Didn't your family move here?
No,
just me.
I moved down here with the girl I went to school with. And
then, what job? How many jobs did you go before you landed this one? Or
I only had one other nursing job for 2.5 years before I got the job where I'm working now. I worked at home through a nursing agency before I moved to the States because there was no point trying to find a permanent job anywhere. I had lots of jobs when I was in high school and college. But before I got this job, I only had one job here in Houston at a different hospital. I was there for 2.5 years. I worked on, it was an odd floor. It was a medicine floor. And they had oncology patients and neurology patients. So it was an odd mix. And then I went to adult ICU. And then from there, I applied at 3 different hospitals in Houston to work in the neonatal intensive care unit. And I took the job offer at Texas Children's. And after I'd been there about a year, I was kind of bored. And they offered up, they called it the nurse clinician program. It was really kind of before nurse practitioners existed. But it was an accredited program, and it let us sit for a national exam. So you could get your advanced practice license and be an advanced practice nurse. So I did that, and I've been doing that since 92. Probably by the time I finished that program, it was 92, 93.
So basically here it has more job opportunities in the Houston area, or?
Oh, there's, especially in the medical field, there's lots of job opportunities here. Lots.
And another thing I'd heard, I don't know how, where's our medical center put on the, map, first, second, third, best?
It depends on what you're talking about. Where I work at our NICU, we're not ranked number 1 in the country. I think would be in the top 5 in terms of national rankings, and we get to see what those are every year. In terms of like if you need any kind of cardiac surgery, I mean the people that did the first heart transplants and stuff, they were here in Houston. It's a pretty impressive place to be if you're sick.
So
I mean, people come from all over the world to come to the medical center here, especially places like MD Anderson, the cancer center that's in the med center.
Just because, I mean, I can write this out or whatever, because I'm going to try and do an article where our medical center is good, and then a part of like, because I have 2 articles, so I'm going to do one from you coming to from Canada to the United States for a job.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, still, I mean, even now today, it's hard to get a full-time job back home because they don't want to pay for benefits.
Oh yeah.
So they hire people part-time, and then they don't have to use the same kind of benefits that they provide full-time people.
Do y'all have stuff like Social Security?
We do. So it's at home. It's called old age pension. So it is what it is. So we do. Excuse me. And so people like me who work here. So it's kind of tricky because I still work here on a visa. I don't have a green card. So because I work here on a visa, I'm only allowed to stay in this country because I'm employed. If I were to quit my job at Texas Children's and decide I just want to live here, I can only stay here 6 months out of the year. And I have to come back and forth as a visitor. So you're only allowed to stay in the country for 6 months. And because it's the U.S. and Canada, I don't have any kind of visitor's visa or anything to do that. People from other countries, depending on where they're coming from, have to have visitors' visas to enter the country.
So, if you were to like quit your job or whatever, but I do have another question about your job. Do you pay Social Security here?
I do. I pay Social Security here.
So you'll never be able to get that Social Security.
So no, there's apparently some sort of an agreement between Canada and the U.S. because there's a lot of people who are Canadian that work in the States and pay into Social Security, or are American that work in Canada and pay into Canada pension. There's an agreement that as long as you've paid into one of them all your working life, wherever you end up retired, you'll be able to collect a pension from that.
And if you do end up deciding you want to stay here, could you eventually get a green card here, or?
You can get a green card a couple of ways. You can get a green card either through employment, or you can get a green card through marriage. So, and then there are some countries, Canada is not eligible, but there are countries that they do a green card lottery. And so you might win a green card based on a lottery system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Canada doesn't do that. You can't get that. If you're Canadian, you're not eligible for that.
Oh, so like if you're from, say, England or Ireland or anywhere
you
like
might
that,
be able to get into the lottery program.
Oh, okay. What made you pick Houston?
Just the fact that there were people at a job fair looking for people to come work, and they make it really easy. Some states, even back when I moved here, made you sit for the NCLEX, the nursing exam, over again for their state. Since I've moved here, they've come up with a whole new process to verify your education, and I have had to write the NCLEX exam. So I had to go through all of that. I didn't have to do it when I moved here.
Oh, so it was basically like you were fresh out of college kind of thing?
Yeah, I had just graduated. I went to a job fair and they hired you on the spot, basically. Yeah. They pay your moving expenses.
Do they still do that now?
There are still places doing it as long as there's a nursing shortage. They'll still do it. Now, I know people at home that went to nursing school and were working here in the States. And depending on where they ended up, I think places like California, Arizona, they decided that they didn't have a shortage anymore and they weren't granting any kind of visas to people from there. There's still a nursing shortage in Texas.
So if you were a Canadian applying to Arizona or California, you wouldn't get the visa. So you shouldn't apply here.
Yeah.
And then
if you had a green card, that'd be totally different. You can go work because you're eligible to work like a citizen.
Oh, okay.
So they don't discriminate against a green card versus a natural born citizen. You're considered a permanent resident.
And what is like the difference in the landscape from here and then in Toronto?
So Well, in Toronto, and where I grew up, just east of Toronto, you're right on the lake. I mean, here you're on the Gulf. Um, but even though you're on the lake, that's fresh water. It's not humid like it is here. Although I thought it was humid growing up, and then I moved here and realized I had no idea what humidity was. And it's, I think, in general, Texas seems to be fairly flat. So at home, it's a lot more hilly and mountainous. I mean, there's several mountain ranges at home. No big mountain range around where we live, but nice big hills. There's just a lot more natural resources. There's a lot of land still that hasn't been inhabited.
Wow.
So even though there's all these big cities, most of them are actually kind of clustered around the U.S. border. Once you start to go north, it's not as inhabited. So we have a huge landmass. And then this time of year, we were just home and flew back here yesterday. And before we flew back yesterday, it was snowing.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And like the seasons up there, do y'all have all 4 seasons?
We have all
do
4
y'all not
seasons.
see all
No,
4
we
seasons?
see all 4 seasons. We flew up and got to see all the leaves. It was beautiful. I do miss fall.
So fall here is different than fall there.
Yeah, because fall here doesn't really exist very much. You know, either the leaves are on the trees or they're not mostly. There's not a whole lot of color change that goes on and then the leaves fall off as it progressively gets colder. It just seems like it's warm here and then all of a sudden it's cold. So it kind of progresses usually a little more into fall and then winter, unlike here.
Yeah, it went hot this weekend and then cold.
Exactly.
So, well, I guess we can return now.
Okay.